Good evening, and welcome to another installment of Darkness in Dublin. Tonight, we have a scene in Emily's, well, technically it's not hers, but her ghouls, but, alright. A gym. A gym that's open into the wee hours of the morning. Emily is currently, is just doing her normal sets, her normal reps, and she's holding, she's holding a water, a flask of plastic that normally just is full of protein shake or something. She's drinking from it. It's probably filled with something a bit different, but hey, what are you gonna do? There isn't too many people. There are people around, but yeah, she's just doing her thing, and she seems somewhat calmer than normal.
Yeah, Francis will enter and will simply approach Emily. As I realize Discord has been uninstalled from my PC, so that's fine. Never mind. He approaches you.
Yeah, she, like, as he gets closer, she will just turn her head and she'll immediately jump down from, he's doing pull-ups or something, she'll just jump down, just kind of, just dry her hands in her shirt or something, and she'll just, like, good evening, good of you to, one moment. And, she goes over, talks to one of the staff, perhaps? A young woman. And they just talk for like 30 seconds. And she gestures for you to essentially through a door.
Yeah. We'll heightened sense of well, he'll just turn on heightened senses briefly. He's just checking for obfuscated individuals. I assume no one's there, because of course not. But he's paranoid. And yeah, we'll just enter the private room that Emily gestures her to.
Yeah, it's a room. There are some chairs. It's probably a break room for employees where they eat food, like they lunched or brought or something like that. And she just like takes out a chair for you and just finds a chair herself and then sits down.
So, how's your evening?
Well, she takes a swig from her plastic thing and she's just, it's okay. Look, thanks for taking the time. I thought I'd inform you, as I talked to Hennessy not too long ago. I think I know what Aisha's planning.
Do you go on?
Well, first of all, remember that the time we met where I suddenly ran?
Yes.
And you heard the Tremere when we went into the Elysium say something about neither the Red Heart. Apparently he did something to me, and I had to fucking leave town, and I left, and long story short, I sought refuge in a home, barn, really, because the sun was about to rise, and guess who was there?
Of course.
Yeah. Well,
What happened?
Well, he asked me whether or not I agreed that the world was evil or cruel or fucked up, or if God had given up on the world or whatever, something mental. And he offered to, like, if I helped him, he offered to restore my humanity, which, as far as I know, is impossible. I don't know if it's ever, like, completely impossible, but I'm not putting my hopes on it. And I'm not going to help him with anything ever. So I told him no. But strange enough, he didn't kill me, which I still don't understand. But he again went on a diatribe about apparently an clan founder, antediluvian, whatever. Hennessy seemed to know what it was about, but someone named Cappadocius, who once was apparently about as crazy as this guy, who said something about
Wait. Go back. Start this again. A crazy person. Did you say Cappadocian?
no, he talked about someone named Cappadocius, apparently the founder or someone who made a clan or was the founder, or I don't know. He talked about him, and it talked about his plan to, I don't know, eat God or diablerize God, or like, it's obviously mentally very, very disturbing. And but that was what he was talking about. And he said once he completed his goal, he would remake the world in his image, or some, like, almost like, yeah, he's obviously really fucking crazy. But I got to talking about it, and then the Obsidian Lantern, the Essamite person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was talking about that Lord A hole, Aisha, whatever. He's breaking virtues or something, or breaking like seals or something to open a gate or a portal or something. The lantern seemed to think that it was a portal from wherever the other side of that mirror we saw was to here. And I don't know, it just popped into my head, like,
So it's breaking seals to open another mirror?
that's what he thought. But it popped into my head. If he's actually telling the truth, what if it's not opening a portal from there to here, but opening something from here to somewhere else, maybe to wherever God is, and maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't know. Like, he might be crazy enough to be convinced that that's actually something he could do.
You can only dablerize other kindred.
Like I said, the man is insane, but I don't know. I just thought it was pertinent information, and I shared it.
To me, it sounds almost as if it's being manipulated by the demons it's made pacts with. Can't imagine why that would be.
Oh, they may have been able to convince him of that, and I mean, if that's what he thinks and that serves their goals, well, hey, they're getting just what they want, and well, he's convinced. So I don't know. I just like a fairly long conversation with him. I mean, it would be prudent to bring it to you. Just
No,
My mind And who told you that? Says a figure standing in the doorway.
Oh, that's
Hmm?
no, that's two.
I beg your pardon?
Francis just kind of like, well, that's two domains. He just looks at his hand. He's like,
If it helps, this particular individual appeared outside of the gym and walked into it. So technically, he hasn't breached domain.
oh, he's being considerate. What a nice guy. Okay, I take it back.
Because the domain only extends to the gym itself.
Yeah, and he hasn't even obfuscated it. You know, he's fine.
I mean, some of the patrons might wish he'd obfuscated it.
This is true.
But you will see this individual standing standing at the door, which is now opened. And he will say, "You seem rather an expert, Mr. Beaumont. How is it that you know that you can only diablerize a vampire?"
Do you mind closing the door?
Oh. He will wave his hand as he steps into the room and the door will close behind him.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
Gotta love that movement of the mind. Best usage
The
of an
wind?
effort. What? Closing the door.
Francis just it's not a wheelie chair, so it's just like it just screeches as he turns it around and just leans back on it. He says, "Well, I do not consider myself an expert, but to my knowledge, it requires the blood of a kindred in question as well as the soul being devoured."
Yes, quite so. After all, the curse that was laid upon us by our forebears, the curse of Cain, when it was that he sat in Enoch, was quite exact. That we could never find our way to paradise. So our souls are far more temporal things, things that are anchored to this plane. And when it is we drink it into ourselves, well, that is the art of diablerie, amaranth, however it is you choose to phrase it. Because our souls can go nowhere after we die. They are left to languish in oblivion.
It's actually probably a good thing you came. I thought about what you said, and I don't know. Maybe he's convinced. How much did you hear?
Oh, not much.
Well, apparently, you know who wants to diablerize God like some other lunatic from ages past.
I would be very, very wary whom you call lunatic, Francis Beaumont. Old blood, old power. Powers long forgotten. Shh. But some of us still remember. After all, you, Camarilla, entirely disavow the knowledge of your antediluvians, though many of you who still walk the night were privy to meeting them when they drew breath. I've always found that to be an interesting hypocrisy.
This is not the first time Francis has been confronted in this issue. The worst part is that it's not even from us about this time.
I know, right?
Regardless, considering you're here, you wouldn't be able to do us the great favor of elaborating on this ancient power, which this red lister is now following with great gusto and enthusiasm.
He smiles and he says, "I can show you if you like."
That sounds extraordinarily morbid.
It would merely be me sharing a memory with you, Francis Beaumont.
Francis considers this because this sounds like the biggest fucking bait he's he's heard in 213 years. But is he wrong, Evan?
Is he wrong about what?
Is he wrong
Fred?
about this being the biggest bait in 213 years?
I mean, the Obsidian Lantern has never actually steered you wrong. He's been very selective in his terms, but he's never outright lied to you, or he's never outright misled.
He's never lied. He's just omitted information that he probably should have told us.
Oh, you sense that he knows a great deal that he's never told you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like he's doing it on purpose.
If I show you, you will forever. If I show you, Francis Beaumont, you will forever know the lie for being alive. It's something you can never take back.
Francis' eyes just kind of how to say, they just kind of linger off to the side for a moment. And he just says, "You know, I've met enough ancient powers at this point to last me the next 500 years. At this point, it's more really..."
No, Francis Beaumont. If I show you this, you see something that is far, far worse and far more magnificent. You see something that has gone from this world and can never be recaptured. Mind you, perhaps you see a vestige of truth that's long since been lost, a truth that someone else uncovered a very long time ago and has spent countless nights in dedicated service to this one single unalienable fact.
Francis rubs the bridge of his nose and he just says, "Why am I doing the Markavians' jobs for them? Very, very well." I accept.
The Obsidian Lantern will, he holds out a hand towards Francis, and he holds out a hand towards Emily.
Is he wanting her to stand up or just?
You can stay sitting or you can stand up. It's entirely up to you.
She kind of just looks at him, just nods. She will take his hand if that's what he's.
Yeah, Francis will take the Obsidian Lantern's hand. Or he's he's in that position where he's seen so much already that he's perhaps not as afraid as he otherwise would be. I mean, he's still cautious and very edgy on the as he takes the Obsidian Lantern's hand. But perhaps because he has seen unknowable horrors already, that somewhat tempered him.
Reality melts away from you as the Obsidian Lantern. I'm going to assume that you both let him into your mind, because otherwise I'll just have to make dice rolls.
Yeah, that's fine.
Reality seems to melt away from you both as you find yourself standing in what looks to be a cloister of a church, perhaps, or a cathedral. You hear outside the song of liturgic Latin being sung, and you see a number of monks doing the rounds of a large outer room as they benefice and praise God. If either of you speak Latin, they are singing the Beatificus Saint Maligianus, or the benediction of Saint Michael. However, you will also see a figure who looks starkly out of place in the form of the obsidian lantern. He doesn't look like he's changed at all. He looks much the same as he did. And you're perceiving everything that he is doing. So as he moves through the monks, your perceptions will change. You will follow him basically until he walks into a small antechamber. The monks don't appear to notice him or give him any mind. But you will see the obsidian lantern walk into a small room of the main cathedral, which appears to be some kind of vestiary. So they're the robes where the priests would robe themselves. There are the other little filigreed items, blah, 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 blah. And you'll see an old man, rather unassuming old man, sitting in a chair. He's reading a large leather-bound book in front of him on a small reading table. He has a long white beard that flows down past his knees that he is, with one hand, he's stroking. You'll see the obsidian lantern go down onto one knee in front of him before he presents him with a scroll that's been folded, that's been wound up very tightly and sealed with a red seal, with a red wax seal. If you look very closely, you can see the fact the red seal actually, that's interesting. The red seal has some kind of Egyptian hieroglyph on it. You're not sure what it means, but it has some kind of Egyptian hieroglyphic figure on it.
Okay. No, I was just saying okay.
The obsidian lantern speaks, though you can't really hear the conversation. And as it looks up, the figure looks at him with a very genial expression on his face. He's actually smiling in a very sweet, unassuming smile, and he speaks in a voice that has very definite authority, but is still gentle, as he congratulates him on his task well done. When he speaks, you feel the power resonate out from him, almost rippling in your blood. It's very weird. The obsidian lantern even bows his head lower when he is being spoken to. Before the conversation simply ends, the obsidian lantern rises, bows, and departs the room, and the vision will fade back to where you are, in the gym. That was the year of our Lord, 1206. Or the year of your Lord, 1206. You see, just because something is dead does not mean that something is forgotten. And one can sometimes even come to master death. So why would one fear it?
Francis looks a bit confused. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Ooh.
What happens when you have mastered death?
This is going to sound a bit rude, but how would I know?
Indeed. The point is that there will come a point when you have reached such a mastery of your studies, when it is you understand the moment that life transitions to death and the nature of time hereafter, where you no longer fear it. Cappadocius was one such individual who has mastered death. He believed that God, whom had grown weary of his labors, wished solitude, the end of all things. He believed that God cursed Cain so that Cain could bring about the undoing of God, so that a new God could rise in his place. Essentially, he created the method through which he himself could be killed. And it was a divine duty, I suppose.
What did the Obsidian Lantern say for the first part of his statement? The second part was he believed that God had cursed Cain so that Cain could undo God.
That was pretty much what he said.
Yeah, what was the first part of that though? I missed the part like a few seconds before that.
He said that he was pretty sure that God had created Cain as the means of his own undoing.
Oh.
This was the belief of Cappadocius, who believed that he himself could take on the essence and the soul of God and revivify the world, creating onto it a new Eden.
Seems consistent with what Miss Stevenson has been told.
Yes.
What he talked about. Yeah.
I don't know if this is possible. I've never researched it. I have no personal interest in it. However, I will tell you that when he opens that gateway to a place that no one should tread, that there is something to fear. You saw it through the mirror, through the looking glass. That could spill free into the world, regardless of if Aishar can or has the possibility of doing as he claims. It will still rend, eat, and twist everything that it has, everything that it sees before it. Ashes and dust.
Stopping that requires Aisha being dead.
He looks at Emily, and you can see there's a smile in his eyes, and he says, "If you say so."
I mean, there is another way.
I never said that that was a way. I'm curious as to why Lord Aisha has taken an interest in both of you personally, but for some reason he has, which is why I believe that you both have a part to play in the prophecy that is to come. Much like your accountee has a vital role to play in what is to come, Mr. Belmont. I gave her her prophecy.
She told me.
It will come to pass. They always do. But your roles have so far been hidden from me. I look forward to trying to tease them out of the puzzle. I should point out he removes a rather official-looking document from inside his robe, and he throws it down on Emily's desk. That is for you.
Okay.
Considering that you are now a member of the Camarilla, I have traded the blood boon that Prince Thrain promised me for my prophecies, and in exchange he has granted me one over you.
I'm sorry, what?
Out of character, did you not hear me, or do you want him to repeat himself?
No. So it's just Emily being like, I'm sorry, what? She's like, what now?
He will say, I'm sure the sheriff can tell you what that means. In the meantime, I must depart. I have other places to be.
Yes, I'm sure you do, and I will use what little opportunity that gives me to stack the deck however I can, I suppose. Not that I've had much luck so far.
You are the child of Providence, Mr. Beaumont. You have had nothing but luck. You should, by all intents and purposes, be dead, but fate seems to you seem to either cheat fate or keep managing to sidestep the consequences.
Well, I'm a Toreador, I suppose.
In that case, many blessings of the evening be upon you both. He will turn, and he will walk from the room. If it helps, he will wait to teleport himself till he's out of your domain.
Well, hey, what a nice guy. Hats off to him, although he doesn't really have a hat.
Francis, a peasant hat will appear right on your head.
Like,
You get a peasant hat.
Oh, no, me.
So,
That's kind
what was this about? She just holds up the paper.
I believe that a blood boon has been transferred to you, and not in the context that somebody owes you, but you owe them. That's
Yeah, I got that shit. I wasn't. She looks out after the door, looks back at him.
and
And
you.
exactly how is that?
What appears Prince Thrain offered a blood boon to the Obsidian Lantern for a prophecy. The Obsidian Lantern cashed it in, and his request was that he issue a blood boon over you instead, thus negating the prince's boon but creating yours.
Well, that's just absolutely fucking perfect. I mean,
It's actually something of a massive climb down. A blood boon over a prince would normally be considered far more valuable, but obviously the Obsidian Lantern has interests.
Help me. That still doesn't calm me down.
No, it screws you pretty hard.
Yeah, thanks. Look, I'll deal with this later. I'm guessing he's gonna put me on errands and shit, but
oh, if you wish to pay off a blood boon, truly, as the rest, frankly, is nothing more than the collection of interest. You will either have to give away clan secrets or risk your very existence in some fashion.
well,
Risk death in a meaningful way. You can't just throw yourself at a random head.
Well, it's no different from what's been happening so far, so I guess I'm okay in that sense.
Yeah, I suppose you'll have your opportunity. Well, considering he has the boon over you, he'll be actively throwing them at you, but
yeah.
A blood boon is not the worst thing in the world. What you really don't want to owe is a life boon. Although it is troubling that you owe one to the Obsidian Lantern, that's the real risk of boons. It's not their severity, not until you reach a life boon. It's who you owe them to, and well, in that manner, you have been
Screwed. I know.
Well, you may be, you may not be. The Obsidian Lantern is a complete unknown in many ways.
Well, I guess I'm the one to find out.
It might be that he uses the blood boon to direct you in such a way as to see what part you are meant to play in his puzzle, and it may be of very little risk to you.
Well, with
That's
my
all.
luck, I'm guessing that's not the case, but that's just a wild guess.
Well,
But
I don't feel very lucky, but apparently I am. I guess when I look back on it, I am, but still doesn't feel that way.
talking about luck, you're doing all right after Elysium?
I'm doing better. I have, now that you've been released from the accounting of, well, who is now considered persona non grata, I have informed the Master of Harpies that I owe you a major boon for your services in regards to reclaiming Elysium and aiding me in my escape from the backlash of the portal's closure.
Yeah.
Collapse would be more accurate.
Yeah, it's thanks, I guess, but it's really not a help with this blood. And she just holds up the paper. This, but oh well. I mean,
Who knows?
but I guess I have to talk with Katja. But no, what is the character's name? Out of character.
Katja.
Is it okay? It's
Katja
not the player's name. Okay.
That's the name of the character. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um,
She just says, "I'm gonna have to talk with her as well because that would be,
the regent.
yeah."
Okay.
I
For
mean,
what reason, if I may ask?
to ask if there is a boon in it as well.
Oh, I actually did tell the Master of Harpies I do hope the regent
Oh, okay.
provide. I have not. I have not. It is not on the record. I've merely stated that I hope the regent gives you the same offer. Now that I hope it sets a positive precedent. But given that the Tremere decided that they owed us a collective blood boon, which also involves the regent, so she can just veto whatever we want to do with it. I would be cautious.
Just know that somewhere out there, Prince Dahlheim is sitting behind his desk and laughing his ass off.
Yeah, I know. And I'm gonna one of these days.
I mean, you can challenge him to Certamen.
I don't have thaumaturgy. What? How could I? I can't challenge him to Certamen. I don't have thaumaturgy.
Yeah, you can. You just lose super hardcore.
Anyway, I just shoot him with fire bullets. Fuck that noise. Francis will just go, but yes. I mean, I can't say I don't recommend approaching her on it. It's very much worth approaching her on that issue. I owe you a major boon, and that in and of itself sets a precedent that she may very well owe you a boon as well. The fact that she's a Tremere, I think, may not actually help her case in this situation, as well.
Right.
Clan Tremere in general owes us all collectively a boon.
But can I, I talked with you and Hennessy about the Spud gun situation, and no, I haven't heard from him yet, but I'll let you know whenever I can, but
doesn't surprise me. I haven't seen many anarchs outside of their own domain. They've been very defensive.
Well, from what Hennessy told me, or told us, the Sputgun used to be,
I mean, I'll be blunt with you. I'm pretty sure he still is. But
right.
Well, I'm certain he still is. But
I'm just gonna ask you something. And what did he tell you about me?
Oh, he didn't need to.
Well, that's just great. Well, Look.
You're not very good at keeping secrets. That's
Oh,
rude,
yeah,
but it's.
I'm still surprised I'm alive, but hey,
You,
what are you gonna do?
let me just say, your expressions gave you away. But
Yeah, I know. Well, she just does a like almost jazz hands as she says this. Ta-da! I don't suppose you want an explanation.
you know, I owe you a major boon, so we'll consider it water under the proverbial bridge.
Well, it's still,
Fact is, you're now considered a neonate of the Camarilla, given that you've been released from the one who was accounting for you. And
well, let me just put it this way. I never had a choice.
they rarely do.
I was lucky enough to get out. Or that everything happened and I stayed
I
under the
assume
radar most of the time, and suddenly this happened, and now I have a choice. But
I assume you were a particularly gifted shovelhead, given your physique.
well, yeah, pretty much.
They just threw you in a pit, and well, you happen to be stronger than the rest.
I had to
And
take myself out.
yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah.
Well, if I may give you fair warning, this about aren't finished with Dublin yet. So
I'm well aware of that, but trust me, the couple of months I spent in that hellhole of, I don't know, psychopaths and monsters, I'm not going back. I'll be happy to get dusted instead of going back. Let's just say that.
far more honourable than most of us, then.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm not going back. Just no.
I'm just glad to hear you were never particularly invested.
Well, and when it comes to what I did, threats of getting eaten alive tend to help with the enthusiasm for doing what you do. So, do this or we kill you was pretty much the start and stop of it. So,
Well,
and I never partook in the fucking blood thing.
that is good. If I do recall, it does slowly wear away over time, but well, it
Nope.
was a potential concern I had. It's one of the problems with accepting turncoats in general, because most members of that sect have, usually if they haven't voluntarily, forcibly. So I'm glad to hear that that is not an issue for you.
Well, there are more than one thing in it. First of all, I suck at social interactions normally. I do. But I guess I'm pretty sure that means that you stuck your neck out for me when you didn't have to. And thanks a lot for that. Just know that I appreciate it.
Hmm?
And well,
You're welcome. I'm glad you stuck your neck out for me.
well, also, there's no point in me lying because you would know that I was lying. That's why I'm coming out and saying it. outright because, yeah, you know, I'm a horrible liar. So, yeah.
May as well stick to what you're good at. If you're a bad liar, be honest.
Yeah. We'll see how all that lasts, but
People feel the need to be deceitful. It's in our nature, I suppose. But sometimes people forget that being, and I myself am guilty of this, so let it be known I'm no innocent in this regard, that a deceit can be as harmful as blunt honesty.
right. Right.
So
well,
so it's not an unviable position to take within the Camarilla, if that's a concern for you. In fact, it's something of a trend among your with your clan. Many of you are uncharacteristically blunt and straightforward, and it's well, the clan has made it this far, so it's clearly working for them.
well, just thanks for your help thus far, and you may owe me something. That's fine, but I gotta say, yeah, there's wielding, dealing, and backstabbing. I get that, but trust me, I'd rather take people who at least try to be decent, or at least try to fool themselves or fool others that they're decent, rather than people who are complete psychos and try to be the worst they can be. But you know, thanks for your help so far. I do appreciate it.
Anytime, and if you do find anything out regarding Spud Gun, you always know who to call. Although it wouldn't surprise me to learn that he's gone to ground.
Well,
frankly, he's the least of my concerns right now.
Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned, but one thing you should know about him, I'm not sure exactly how, but I'm quite certain he can, well, I know this is going to sound ludicrous, but he can fly.
Not unheard of.
Oh, okay. I just hadn't seen it myself, but
I've seen Tremere use the trick. We even saw it when we entered the Tainted Elysium when we attempted to retake it. We noticed how Catcher just floated on in.
right.
So it is within the capacity of some kindred, albeit very few.
There's another really important thing about Lord Aisha you might want to mention, but I'm just saying it because I'm wondering if Peter's forgotten about it.
Actually, I have not forgotten. It's in the barn. I'm just wondering if Emily, because Emily has a lot to think of at this exact moment in time.
I was just saying, if you're talking about things, weaknesses, and powers, it might be a good thing to think of. But continue.
Yeah, and she would actually, yeah. Yeah, Emily will just like, oh, wait a minute, one moment. She kind of just sits down at the barn. The sun was rising, and part of me was thinking of jumping him, trying to do something, getting him into the sunlight. I could feel myself getting really tired really fast, so I decided against it. He walked out of the barn, and it didn't bother him.
Was he wounded in any way?
Not that I could see. Didn't see discomfort. He didn't seem tired. Just merely walked out into the light. I don't know, but I've heard that's not really supposed to be able to happen.
Jesus, I should just start making a fucking list.
Yeah. Well, on second or third thought, I'm really fucking happy that I didn't try to attack him, because obviously I would have been grilled and, well, potentially, and he would have been fine. But yeah. I mean, this was just as the sun was rising. I don't know if if this is just a thing, or because he kind of disappeared. But I saw him disappear in a puff of smoke, essentially.
Oh, yes, he can do that. I've seen another.
So,
A lot of blood magicians in the city can do that. It's
yeah, but I don't know if he could stay in sunlight for like a day,
best
just stay.
path ever.
I don't know if you can do that. Well, just know that I actually saw him in sunlight, where he didn't seem to really mind.
Well, that's very informative and good to know. So that is something I can rule out as a tactic against it. Although I seem to only be ruling out tactics rather than adding any to my list. So this is rapidly becoming more of a problem than it is.
Francis, do you want to run through your intelligence politics?
Yeah.
It's going to be difficulty 7, and it's going to require 3 successes, because this is a really esoteric thing to think of.
Okay, in that case, I will, because I don't have many dice, I wasn't going to spend a willpower, but I think I will just because it's a high amount of dice. Or a high amount of successes. Probably won't get the successes I need on this, but we'll see. I only get 2 successes. So I get 2, but not 3, so I don't meet the threshold.
Oh, no, sorry, this would be difficulty 6. I was just thinking about how it'd be a high number of successes, but it'd still only be difficulty 6, so I'll give it to you.
Oh, yeah, I got I spent a willpower and I got a 9, a 5, a 6, and a 4, so I would have gotten 3
There was
successes.
one other kindred in the city who you know for a fact can go out during the day. And the reason you know for a fact he can go out during the day is you've seen him at press conferences during the day that have been recorded for news broadcasts. And that is Mr. Florin Giovanni, or Florin de Medici. He has had to attend numerous broadcast meetings during the day, particularly because he was a very influential member of the Irish bank bailout, and that required him being at a number of meetings and seminars at 12 o'clock and then 12 o'clock noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, making official statements. And he has been recorded doing so. Unless he has a ghoul who is an exact lookalike of him.
Yeah, Dismisia is my favourite, clearly. That's to be fair, I'm much more relieved that Aisha might have been using that particular ability rather than the other one, which is frankly terrifying. But
What, having achieved Galconda?
No. This one, I'll type it in chat. But
I don't hate you that much, Bishop. It's hate, buddy.
Francis will his eyes close for like a good 5 seconds and then reopen. There is. There is another who can go out during the day, to my knowledge. The only other kindred I've ever seen pull it off, so I'm very curious as to how they're able to do it. You know, when I initially saw it, I simply thought that perhaps the Giovanni had a fiend over them a favor, or they'd simply created a lookalike of their own, but it may be worth me inquiring with them.
Yeah, sure. It just might be.
They're going to make me pay out the ass for it, though.
What if you make it known that it's to help against this guy?
That may help lower the cost somewhat, particularly if it's the same. If it falls under the Giovanni specific niche, then they may have an interest.
I would have thought the city being destroyed.
GM note, you do have one thing that you're pretty sure you can trade to Giovanni.
Oh yeah, no. Francis still has it.
I'm fairly certain that the city being destroyed would be against their interest, but
Well, you say this, but well, they deal when they're dead. When they didn't come forward the last time, they may just let the Camarilla handle it. They may just use the fact that we need their help, so they're going to make us pay for it, and are we going to say no if it means our domain is destroyed?
well,
probably not.
Hennessy did say something about the Giovanni, actually.
Oh, what did he say?
That the Cappadocia guy, or Cappadocius guy, that they stole from the others? Like, that Giovanni killed them? Or something? I don't know.
Given... It is literally just a series of and then a very and then a rather sardonic and somewhat unsurprised. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that's a very interesting topic for another time.
Yeah, I know we've got a lot on our plate.
Considering if Hennessy is correct, then it may not be wise to approach them with that subject matter in hand.
Probably right. Yeah, that's...
I
don't know anything about that, actually.
Given... Not that I know a particularly great deal about Giovanni culture, but given what I know about the kindred culture and society and just our natures in general, we tend to be very...
Fate or God hates me because
very cagey.
Well, I'm probably one of the worst people in the world at lying, and well, you don't need to hear about this.
Well, they're not going to bring them up. If you don't, you should be fine, and nobody should be the wiser.
By the way, Emily she's standing up. She's fished out another thing. You're quite sure there's blood in there?
Actually, There is another matter. There's an autarchus in the city that joined me in Louisiana when we raided the Red Listers Chantry.
A what?
Oh, it's the base of operations that the Tremere build for themselves in a city. It's where most of them live.
But a what joined you? Sorry.
Oh, an autarch, a kindred. An autarchus is basically an old way of saying a kindred independent of any sect.
Oh, okay, okay.
He is he is a self-proclaimed autarchus. I don't know him well enough to know how true that is, but I need to speak with him, and I know he has a thing against Giovanni, seemingly, and also has occupies a similar niche to them, so that may make for some very useful leverage. But I may need to speak to him about this as well.
Okay.
And I need to speak to him about what he's discovered about the Red Lister, as he may have taken something from the Red Lister's old chantry, and I need to have a look. And while normally I would pay boons, he's an autarchus. I'm not going to pay an autarchus boons.
Okay.
I just thought I'd let you know, as it seems to be oddly relevant to all of this. And he, again, seems to be occupying a similar niche to Giovanni and may have connection to whatever the Red List is doing.
Emily will just pass you the, it's normal something you have water in when you're training, or maybe you have protein shake in it. She just passes it over to you as if you want a drink.
Sure, you have a drink. What is it?
Yeah.
And that's one step, blood, but I won't fucking with you.
The only
No.
reason I do this so casually is because Francis is fairly confident that Emily just...
Yeah. It's
just terrified of doing that, I think.
Yeah. It tastes like blood, but it's very, very thick. A lot thicker than you would think. And there is a weird taste to it.
What is this?
And she kind of, like, her eyes go wide, and she's like, oh, one moment. And she fishes out another one from the cooler and just gives the, this is better. Sorry.
What?
It's just a thing it's really like, this is normal.
Well, I'd like to know what I'm drinking.
No, she's taken the other thing. It's just like, oh, this is just for me when I'm relaxing.
Okay, what is it? Because you just gave it to me and I drank it, and I'd like to know what I drank.
It's and she scratches the back of her neck, and she's like, it's blood mixed with protein powder.
Oh.
It's for training. I know I'm not quite sure how it works yet, but I don't know. I don't know if it helps, but
I assume she's not lying, because I got 5 successes on an empathy check.
nope. She is embarrassed, and she seems to be, maybe she's hoping it works. Maybe it's something that reminds her of something she used to know. You can't. That is, like, it's probably a mixture of those. That would be your guess.
Well. Oh, okay. Francis will just take the other one and drink that one. Does that one taste normal?
Yeah, that tastes normal. Again, it's not the same when it's not completely fresh from the tap or whatever you want to say. But yeah, this one tastes normal. And normal context, like texture and like viscosity.
Must say, I do prefer this one.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got it mixed up.
But yes, no, thank you for informing me about all of this. I do appreciate it. Needless to say, it's quite important that I know these things. So
Yeah.
I'll take that into account if we ever, well, when, because it will be when we encounter the Red Lister again.
If I get a shot at him, I'm going to try my best.
Yes, don't take a shot at him unless the rest of the Camarilla is confident and is taking that shot with you.
I know.
But your conviction is appreciated, and I will be in touch. Because I have a 3-way water fight. That should be fun. Or 4-way. Us being a fourth party.
Right. She just stands there for a moment, just looks at you. I mean, it's one of your clan that's hosting the thing. Are you coming for the... Look,
As if I'd miss it.
Her eyes go a bit wide. She goes, really?
Delano got you new shoes, Bishop. He got you new shoes.
Fucking yes.
Right. Okay, well... Alright.
I heard you're going.
Damn it! You will hear, damn it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I heard Monique even picked you out a dress.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Against my better judgment, yeah. Look, don't tell anyone, and I won't tell anyone about you being there, okay?
I don't mind people knowing that I'm going.
Isn't it like... What do you mean? Like, it's a like a fucking freak place, like a sex thing.
That's pretty prejudiced.
Okay, we really shouldn't have this conversation. I'm fine. Like,
It's a
mind.
court. Like a member of my clan is
I know, but it's
hosting the masquerade ball. Why are you?
like it's like a... Look, we shouldn't have been having this conversation, and everything was fine. And I really... Look, sorry I brought it up. I am going to... I can show you... If you're going, I will like escort you out. She is desperately trying to get away from this conversation topic.
Yes, please do.
She puts down her drinking mug and just
Freak show, honestly.
But it's... Look, I'm not...
I'll have you know, my clan has thrown the best events in Kindred history.
I am sure.
We hosted the Convention of Thorns, you know.
Okay,
Oh my god, did he not even teach you about that?
And what a party that was, said nobody ever.
That was the best party. It was the party that formed the Camarilla, damn it.
Yeah.
That's how excited everybody was. They all just decided to team up. It was great.
I've heard of that, but I guess that's on the bucket list. But yeah, I'll... yeah. Right. I will see you later. As she walks to the door, and yeah.
My clan runs the Succubus Club.
And
You can have a hug.
And she will just see you off.
Shadowy.
And
Creepy.
yeah, Emily will go back
Proper.
inside and contemplate her life position as she looks at the the position she's now in, that she is essentially owned by someone, or at very least significantly.
Not a life boon. You're not owned. Quite.
Quite. All right. On that note, thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin. Have a pleasant evening. Finger gun.